Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah is Tainus, Perek Beis, chapter 2, and we'll be doing Mishnah Beis and Mishnah Beis and Gimel 2 and 3 today. Okay, so the first Mishnah was discussing the way that the prayers are done when we hit the point of the 7 fasts the sages instituted when there was a lack of rain. And in Mishnah Aleph yesterday, we learned about how they take the Aron out into the street, they daven in the street, and how the elder speaks to them words of rebuke and to inspire them to do tshuva. Now Mishnah Beis, Amdu B'Tefillah, they stood to pray. Now, you're going to be talking about here when they get up to pray, you're having the silent Shemona Esrei that the people are going to daven, people are going to recite, and then there's going to be the Chazan who's going to do the repetition. So who would be the Chazan in this kind of situation? So he said, Mishnah says like this. We bring before the ark, Zakein, and someone who is elderly. It doesn't say what that age is exactly. Viragil. Ragil means that he is familiar with the prayers. Okay. V'yesh banim, he has children. Ubeisei rekam, and his house is empty. So that his prayer will be completely involved, so that his heart will be completely involved in the prayer. Okay, so what does this mean? So first of all, let's go through each one of the qualities that we're saying, the characteristics of the Chazan. First is Zaken, an older person. Okay, so they bring down here in the notes, an older person is chosen because his heart is subdued and he lacks the rashness of youth. Okay, how old do you have to be to hit that part? Doesn't say, but he's older. Okay, and therefore his heart is more subdued. Okay, then it says he has to be familiar with the prayers. Why? He must be familiar with the prayers so that he does not make a mistake, which would be a bad omen for the congregation. Now, there's a Mishna in Brachas that talks about this, that if the Chazan makes a mistake in his repetition, it's a bad sign, because the Chazan is the Shliach Tzibur, he's the agent of the congregation. And if he makes a mistake in his prayer, that's not a good sign. And one has to understand that the possibility of mistakes in prayer were a concern because whoever was doing it by heart. They didn't have Sidurim. People have to know this by heart. So the Chazan, who now is the Shliach Tzibur, he's a representative of the Tzibur, he's doing it by heart. You want to make sure that he knows his stuff well enough not to get confused, not to make any mistakes. All right. Then it says he has children and his house is empty. What does it mean his house is empty? So one explanation empty means he's poor. His house is empty of food. Right? So here he is. He's got children. He's got no food. Since he has no way to feed his family, his anguish will motivate him to pray with great feeling. You know, when a person has tsaris, when a person has problems and he davens, the personal problems actually push him to daven harder, to daven with more intensity. And that's what we're trying to get here the Chazan to do. They bring down interestingly here from the Rambam that if the elder who spoke to them previously is suitable to lead the prayers, he does so. Otherwise, they choose someone who does not meet these conditions, who does meet these conditions. Meaning, we had an elder who was speaking to everyone. He was trying to inspire everyone to do tshuva. And here we have an elder too. So if you can use the same one, that's best. If you can't, so then, again, you've tried to find, if you can't use the first one, then you work with someone else that an elder who has other qualities. Okay, next. The Chazan is going to recite 24 blessings. 24. He's got a longer Shemona Esrei than usual. Shemona Esrei Shebachol Yoim, the 18 brachas that we say every day in the Shemona Esrei in Damida. And you add another 6. Another 6 blessings were added when these fasts are being taken place. So in the silent Shemona Esrei, they're not doing this. Silent Shemona Esrei, having a regular Shemona Esrei. When it comes time for the Chazan to repeat the Shemona Esrei, he adds 6 more. Now, the total mentioned in the Mishnah is 24, 18 plus 6, right? How many brachas do we have in Shemoneh Esrei? 19. That's because at a later point of time, the 19th bracha was added. But the Mishnah is before that time, and therefore it talks about 18 plus 6. So that's Mishnah Beis. Mishnah Gimel. Ve'elu hein. Now we're going to say, what are those extra 6 brachas? What are those added 6 brachas? So, Zichroinus. The first thing is remembrances. Remember remembrances? Right? We spoke about remembrances by Rosh Hashanah. In the Musaf Rosh Hashanah, we have the verse